already know that he has speed, he's got power. I know he's moving up in weight class, can he carry it? You know, but those intangibles, I believe that he has them.
Look at, and then Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small, you know, and he can look bigger in. Crawford could look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always a difference. When you get that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin. He fought Crawford, and in all the stuff, the weigh-ins and the press conference.
Too fast and too smart for Canelo. Even Canelo is a good boxer. I'm not saying like nothing from not taking nothing from Canelo.
Canelo versus Crawford is being hyped as the year's biggest fight, and Teddy Atlas didn't hold back in his breakdown. Atlas insists Terence Crawford has all the tools to win, no matter the weight. He praises Crawford's discipline, sharpness, and adaptability, while pointing out that Canelo Alvarez isn't the same hungry fighter who once dominated. According to Atlas, Canelo's recent performances reveal decline, and he even calls the Mexican superstar overrated compared to Crawford. For Atlas, it's Crawford's drive and precision that make him the clear favorite.
That the urgency's not there. The fire's not there. At least it wasn't there a week ago. At least I say that. It wasn't there a week ago. Maybe it'll be there now. Maybe he's the kind of guy that, and I get it, that at this point in their career, it has to be a big fight to get up. That Canelo can't get up for these fights. He couldn't get up for that fight. All right. If you want to go down that road, go ahead. But my road is still possible. That he got old, that just doesn't have that fire no more. Oh, my God, I'm going to say this one. That maybe he's a little overrated. I listen, I know he's tremendous. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? If you look at some of his biggest fights, the fights where you had to be great to win, that you fought great fighters or near great fighters, you know, you could make the argument that he lost the first Triple G. You know, he didn't embarrass himself, but he got a draw. Second one, you could make the argument he lost that. I know it was a different kind of fight, and he got better. But you can make that. You can make the argument he lost to Lara. He did lose to Mayweather. You can make the argument it was too young in his career. Maybe. Although it wasn't that young. He turned pro when he was 15 or 16.
Mean Machine, who once shared the ring with Crawford, is confident that size won't decide the outcome against Canelo. He argues Crawford's skill set is far more advanced, and his ring IQ makes him too smart for Alvarez. In his eyes, the difference in weight won't matter against Crawford's adaptability, timing, and mental sharpness. Mean describes him as one of the most calculated fighters of this era, someone who can shift gears mid-fight and dismantle opponents regardless of size. For him, it's not about power, it's about tools. And Crawford's are sharper.
No, it's not good for Crawford. Canelo's too big. Right now, my position changed. I think Crawford is too fast and too smart for Canelo. Even Canelo is a good boxer. I'm not saying like nothing from not taking nothing from Canelo, but the way like when you see like, oh, he's too big, when you see Usyk fights and what Usyk did to the big guys like Joshua and Fury, so the size of that doesn't matter. I think the skill level matters. And Crawford, he gained weight, but I think he's gonna be like even faster, and like his head works good in the ring. He's like boxing IQ just on top. So I would say 50-50, but right now I'm kind of leaning more to Crawford.
And that's just because of what you saw Usyk do?
It's not like I'm just giving an example, like size doesn't matter in the boxing. When they say like, oh, like Canelo is big and he's fighting like 175, 168, and Crawford just moving from like 147, 154. So I'm just putting an example that size doesn't matter, and like that the fighter makes the fight. I think it's just like that. I see that Crawford's training and that he's big too right now. So he gained weight, but not like, and lots of people gain weight like that sloppy weight, like I would say like fat, but he looked like strong, massively strong. So I think it's gonna be a good one.
How did Terence feel physically when you faced him? Like, how is his strength? Because yeah, a lot of people do make the point that Canelo's just maybe too big, too powerful for Crawford.
Uh, Crawford, I wouldn't say like his punches was like super strong, but his timing and accuracy is the what makes difference.
Mean Machine compares Crawford versus Canelo to Alvarez's 2013 fight with Floyd Mayweather. Back then, Canelo was younger, raw, and Mayweather schooled him with speed, defense, and precision. Mean believes Crawford could use a similar strategy with slick movement and counter-punching to frustrate Canelo and neutralize his weapons. Still, he notes one big difference. Canelo today is far more seasoned. He has beaten elite names, learned patience, and gained experience that wasn't there during the Mayweather fight.
Throw hard, but they just throw. And he throws like his calculation for the punches and like timing and aiming to the right spots is just like on another level.
Do you think that's going to be the thing that complicates the fight the most for Canelo?
I think so, yeah. And like, yeah, we can go back a little bit to Mayweather Canelo and Canelo. Yeah, Canelo was young and like Mayweather smart, but it can be like familiar fight like that. Even Canelo right now have more experience, and Crawford is still on his prime. So yeah, we will see.
From just your experience, you knowing boxing, like how do you think the fight will play out? Do you think it'll be a slow fight? Do you think it'll be tactical? Like, do you think Crawford?
I think it's gonna start a little bit slowly. They're gonna be careful with each other just to kind of like measure each other and see where they at. And like they're like that's why like they're like champs and they're like great ones. They just don't go like crazy like from the first round.
Regis Prograis sees it differently. The former champion doubts Crawford's punches will phase a granite-chinned, naturally bigger fighter like Canelo Alvarez. Prograis reminds fans that Alvarez has eaten shots from heavy hitters much larger than Crawford and barely flinched. Still, he doesn't dismiss Crawford outright. While he questions Crawford's power, he admits the Nebraska star's skill, switch-hitting ability, and world-class strategy could still win him rounds. In Prograis' eyes, Crawford's technique makes him dangerous, even for someone as tough as Canelo.
I think that Crawford has the ability to outbox Canelo. You got to look at it. And then Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small, and he can look bigger in Crawford could look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always a difference. When you get that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin. He fought Crawford, and in all the stuff, the weigh-ins and the press conference, Jamel looked like the bigger man. His head, his neck, everything looked bigger. But when they got in the fight, you can tell. You can see who really was the bigger man. And I think that's the same thing. Crawford is putting on weight, but it's not weight like Canelo had the weight already. He doesn't have to put on muscle. He doesn't have to do that. He's already big like that. But I think that Crawford does have the style. He does have the style to beat him. If you look at the people that beat him or gave him troubles, Irislan, De Lara, Austin Trout, Floyd, and Bivol, they gave him trouble and stuff like that. And Skull moved around a little bit too. So I think that Crawford has that. But I don't know how Crawford is gonna respond when he gets hit. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel was undisputed at 154, and Canelo hit him and shit. Jamel was like, hell no. Jamel took a knee. So it's a big difference. And Crawford had that one fight at 154, and he didn't. Madrimov would touch him up a little bit. And this is nowhere close to Madrimov. You talk about Canelo. Now, if it was just another bigger guy, I would go with Crawford. But you talk about great. This might be. I mean, people might kill me for it, but not really. But this might be the best Mexican fighter ever. One of them, at least, right?
Jose Vargas Jr., who has sparred with Crawford, echoes Prograis' skepticism. Vargas says flat out that he doesn't believe Crawford can hurt Canelo, having felt his shots firsthand. He admits Crawford is sharp, precise, and tricky, but not heavy-handed enough to trouble Alvarez. He points out that Canelo has already survived power from much bigger men, raising doubts about Crawford's danger. Still, Vargas concedes that timing and accuracy can matter more than raw force. Even if Crawford lacks knockout power, his precision could still slow Canelo's relentless pressure.
Be done in camp.
All we're doing is putting the final touches. I mean, I've been sparring Ron Ellis. I mean, this guy is a dog, bro. He's been getting me ready. I mean, he's been Canelo's sparring partner. Shout out to my guy Ron, man. He comes, tries to knock me out every single sparring. This guy fights at 68, big dude, goes southpaw, and hits hard. So I know he fought Benavidez, so you know, he's a veteran and he's doing veteran tactics in there where he's not letting me rest in the clinch. He's making me work every second of every round. And I got something for Callum. I got something for the whole boxing world. And you know, I feel you're just as good as your preparation. And we've been doing the road work. We've been doing the mountain work. Um, I've been recovering hard. I've been getting my rest. You know, I haven't been drinking no dark sodas, bro. I'm feeling like Tyson Fury right now, bro. Like
Mickey Bay takes a more controversial angle, accusing Canelo Alvarez of cherry picking by taking the Crawford fight. Bay argues Alvarez has often chosen opponents carefully, timing them or using size to his advantage. He suggests Canelo views Crawford as a smaller man moving up, giving him an edge physically. Critics agree, sparking debates over fairness. Still, Bay makes it clear, Crawford is far too skilled to be dismissed. Even if Canelo is a bigger man, Crawford's adaptability could flip the script on fight night.
Size comparison type of a thing to make it seem like it's not a type of cherry pick that he has to go up into this battle.
So he a lot bigger. See, people looking at height. Height don't got nothing to do with weight and where you've been fighting at. Like Terrence put his weight on, so it's a difference. No, Canelo's a lot bigger, like hands down. Like just mass, as far as mass, he naturally that thick. You know, he got to come down. Terrence, just because your weight is up there, that don't mean that. That's like putting a dude Benavidez as a heavyweight. He might walk around at 205 or whatever. That don't mean he a heavyweight though. So Canelo was by far the bigger man. We didn't seen him hit. We didn't seen him hit dudes 6'3", 6'2" in the arm, and hurt him. Like he didn't hurt Kovalev light heavyweight. So I mean, didn't he have a light heavyweight title?
Well, when he fought Kovalev,
Just period at light heavyweight. Didn't Canelo win the light? Did he?
nah, he just Kovalev. That's it.
Oh, okay. Well, he might only fought there a couple times, but the fact that he fought up there though, and he fought way up at light heavyweight, but he been at super middleweight for a minute, so he the bigger guy for sure. So really, he got to hurt. He got to hurt Crawford, or he got to get his major respect. He got to get his major respect to make Crawford feel like he got to survive. If he can't do that, then he probably ain't gonna win.
Do you feel like you was talking about Crawford? He needs to poke his way out of this fight, right? We've seen that, Crawford's been lined up by lots of fighters. Not Errol Spence, of course, but other fighters that was able to line up with shots that don't necessarily hit like a Canelo. Now, Canelo gonna line you up regardless, right?
Tom Loeffler offers a different take, focusing on the spectacle of Canelo versus Crawford. From a promoter's perspective, Loeffler sees this as one of boxing's most marketable clashes. Canelo Alvarez and Crawford are two of the sport's brightest stars, each with massive fan bases worldwide. Loeffler stresses that fights like this go beyond boxing. They attract global attention and casual audiences who don't usually tune in. To him, it's more than a fight. It's an event that transcends a sport.
It doesn't get any bigger than that. And you got to give credit to both guys. They're both very confident. They both have very passionate fan bases. Callum, having fought in Dublin, packed the arena out there, the 3 Arena, having fought at Madison Square Garden 3 times, fought in Boston. And then Fernando Jr., from one of the biggest boxing named families, in the history of boxing. He's going to bring out a huge fan base. So it's a really exciting addition to, such a big show that like I said, doesn't get any bigger than that for sure.
I agree. I think that you, along with me, have seen some of these criticisms of the undercard. But really, when you look at it, I mean, we both know Callum Walsh so well. The personality and the authenticity that he brings to this sport is just so sincere. He's so real. Being from Ireland, coming overseas to train and dedicate his life to this craft, and his personality is so magnetic that it obviously brought someone like Dana White to be a huge supporter of him. I think in these weeks leading up to the fight, the fighting public who does not know Callum Walsh is really going to fall in love with him, especially, by fight night.
Saudi boxing power broker Turki Alishik is credited with making Canelo versus Crawford happen. While many applaud his role in delivering dream fights, critics argue this one isn't about competitiveness but about spectacle. They highlight the natural size gap, warning that Crawford could be at a disadvantage. Still, Alishik's influence can't be ignored. Without him, this fight likely wouldn't exist. His ability to bring two of boxing's biggest stars together proves his power in shaping today's boxing landscape and ensures fans get a once-in-a-generation showdown.
Benavidez Jr., Canelo, you know, would have mopped up all of these dudes, bro. Would have mopped up all of these dudes. Like, you know, when we're coming out and saying that this is a complete mismatch and this is a joke and this is a fantasy fight, you know what I'm saying, that Turki Alishik dreamed of, and we know he's a big Crawford fan, knowing, you know, the level of star power that Canelo Alvarez has, and he had the bag to make this fight happen. It doesn't mean that it's a logical fight for boxing, bro. At the end of the day, man, you know, you guys tell me if Terence Crawford would have beat Triple G. Tell me if he would have beat Billy Joe Saunders. Tell me if he could beat Bivol, even though, yeah, Canelo didn't beat Bivol, but tell me if he could have beat a Sergey Kovalev. And the other loss Canelo has to Mayweather, man. Crawford, you know, nobody in the world, I felt, could have beat Mayweather in the height of his career, bro. Tell me if Crawford, bro, would have just flat out went in there and beat a guy like Miguel Cotto, Daniel Jacobs. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, it's the level of competition that Canelo faced, man. And these dudes that he went in there to beat. You know, Terence Crawford is nowhere, you know, has fought nowhere near the level of competition that Canelo Alvarez has fought. And I've had some comments talking about, you know, you talk about we're going off of our emotions and you're going off of your emotions. You're not giving no facts, bro. Like, this is all facts right here, bro. The fact of the matter is, bro, Canelo Alvarez has fought at light heavyweight. The fact of the matter is, Terence Crawford has only fought once at 154 pounds. And the fact of the matter is, he was getting touched up by those right hands all night, bro. By Madrimov. That's the fact, bro. The biggest, most dominating fight he ever had was against Errol Spence.
Trainer Dave Coldwell has long praised Crawford's versatility, and he believes it will be crucial against Canelo. Crawford's ability to fight from both stances creates angles, breaks rhythm, and keeps opponents guessing. Coldwell points out that his footwork allows him to glide in and out of range, avoiding traps. Against Canelo, who thrives on pressure and cutting off the ring, this mobility could be the difference. For Coldwell, it's not about power, but about IQ, discipline, and movement.
I just think it's different. I think there's something about him. I think if you add what Crawford's good at, his brain, he can switch. He's very good as a southpaw. His judgment of distance is fantastic. His punch picking is fantastic. He's got good legs. When you add what, and he can pop. I mean, listen, I'm not saying he's got the power to hurt Canelo, but he might have the power to surprise Canelo a little bit and just sting him and just. But when you look at what Crawford does well, and then I look at this version of Canelo, as Canelo's got on, his punch rate's gone down.
That's it for today's video. Stay locked in and don't miss what's next.